Alright, somebody had asked me to do a video on doing a timing belt on a 1.8 liter turbo Passat, Beetle, or Audi A4. Now I'm not so much sure about the Beetle, but the A4 and the Passats. And somebody also asked a question about a valve cover gasket. The valve cover gasket is actually pretty simple on these things. You remove the 4 coil packs, that's it. You unbolt this air rail. That's all it is an air pipe. Goes around to the back side of the manifold. Okay, it's 3 bolts on that. There's 1 right here and 2 right here. And that will push out of the way. And then you have about 10 of these little bolts here. There's 1 there, there's 1 there, there's 1 in between every cylinder. And then the valve cover comes off. And then there's a small gasket that goes around the spark plug holes, because this is like a Hemi. And then there's the big gasket that goes all the way around. Okay? I'll do that in another video, but for now we're going to concentrate on the timing belt, because I have other plans for this car. So, as you can see, the top cover is held on with 2 clips, 1 on each side, and you just got to pull this hose out of the way and the timing cover comes off for inspection only. Okay? This car has obviously been parked for a while because the pulley and the washer on the bottom got rusty. You can see the rust, but that's no big deal. Alright, so the first thing you got to do is get the car up on 2 jack stands in the front, because part of the reason is you're going to be working at knee level and you don't want to have to keep bending over, getting up, bending over, getting up, and it just makes it easier. We're going to have to turn the wheel to the left and to the right a couple of times to get some screws out. So let me get up on jack stands and then we'll go from there. Alright, we have the car up on jack stands. The first thing you want to do is from the bumper line, this is the fender, this is the bumper. Pull these screws out on the inside. There's 3 on each side. Remove the plastic insert. Same with this side. Screws over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come along the top and we're going to get all the screws out of here. And then we're going to get rid of the hood latch. This is important. This is $20 if you break it. You can save them. And then we're going to pull the whole bumper cover off. And then we'll go from there. Okay, with the screws and the fender well removed, you've got 4 screws here. There's actually supposed to be 1 there, and there's little bumper stops for your hood right here. You can leave the headlights in for now. I got the center section of my grill out, and if you come down below, I'll go down here, that fan is on because it's 100 degrees in here. Okay? There should be 2 bolts or 3 bolts in the bumper cover. Okay, what happens if they don't put these bolts in and you back up and snag a parking curb? You can see how flimsy this can be without the bolts in it. But this is why the motor's got to be pulled out. Somebody had skinned a parking curb right here and busted the oil pan. But okay, we got those bolts out, and there's 2 more to get. With the turn signals removed, there's 2 10mm bolts, 1 here and 1 on the other side. Then after you get them 2 bolts out, there's 2 25mm Torx right up inside the fender here. There's the wheel. You got to pull them off. Those hold the corner of the bumper cover in. Let's get those out. Okay, I turned my fan off. This actually should be all the screws. This thing is kind of hang on to it, so it slam into the ground. Okay, that's the bumper cover. Okay, next is two 13mm bolts. Okay, they have speed nuts on the bottom, so you can just spin them out with an air ratchet and they'll come right out. And that pulls this inner bumper support off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, after you take the inner bumper support out, that big aluminum thing, I put the bolts back in so I don't lose them, and then you got 3 Torx and a little 10mm. Okay? Same on this side. The 10mm, all it's for is to hold these on during the assembly process. So get those out, take those 2 bumper shots. Alright, at this stage, there was 2 bolts under here, 2 screws in the front of this. Literally the only thing holding this core support on anymore. That screw there, and that screw there. I could probably pull it on the bottom. You can see it's loose. I've got a screw here on this bracket yet. I'm going to disconnect my AC lines right there. Upper and lower radiator hose. The hood latch. And there's a wiring loom for the cooling fan. And you unplug the headlights. And these are really simple. If I can see, let me get a light here. And actually, the way they're supposed to work, which this clip isn't on right, is when this clip is on, let me get back here. Okay, I got the clip on. When the clip is on, all you do is push that in and pull it out. Okay, we'll go to the other side and see if the plug over here is the way it's supposed to be. I come back. I almost screwed up. You see my prop rod holding the hood up, and it's pushing against the core support. I was fixing to take that screw out of the corner. If I'd have took that screw out, it'd have pushed and the hood would have fell on my head. Prop rod's no good on this hood. And you can see this is the last of the screws. The whole core support is just sitting here, basically. What I'm going to do is undo the hood latch, get the wiring unplugged. I'll put a drain pan underneath it, pull the plug out the bottom of the radiator, and just let it drain all night. Because I'm not going to sit here and roll around in front of the water. So it's got the end of step 1. I'm going to be totally honest. To get it to this stage, an hour. That's it. Add up the time in the video. I literally would shut the camera off and sit it down for 2 or 3 minutes just so I could take a bolt out with 2 hands. But that's it. Okay, you can see I got the AC lines undone. That's the power steering cooler dangling right there. Everything should be unhooked. I'm going to go ahead and see if anything is still hooked up. Get this off here. I see one plug. Push it through there. Alright, I stayed another 30 minutes. I had to pop these 2 transmission lines out of the radiator. Unplug these 4 plugs. They are all connected to sensors in the radiator. Pop the lower radiator hose on. It doesn't have a clamp. It clips on like these headlights do, with one of these clips here and an O-ring inside that. And that's it. I'll tie this stuff up, put a hose over these 2 for the power steering, and I'll put this down on the floor tomorrow. I will back this thing out and I'll clean this floor up, and then bring it back in and finish getting this taken apart. You can see this is how your whole front end assembly comes off. That's both headlights, that's AC condenser radiator, that's one big carbon fiber piece with, you know, the cooling fan and the wiring harness, headlight buckets, everything. It's all one piece. Now, if you were going to do just the timing belt, I would leave the AC condenser hooked up, take it off of here, and just flip it off to the side, and then take the front. That way you don't have to bust the AC down and recharge it. We don't have that option because we are actually going to do something different with this car. I'm not going to give it up yet, but you'll see as time goes on. We just figured it would be better to go a different route. Oh, and by the way, this bracket here is actually your air-to-air. This is actually connected to the lower part of the turbo, because your turbo is right here, okay? Blow-off valve, the wastegate's right there, blow-off valves down there, and it comes across here into the bottom side of the air-to-air, pumps the air out here through this big hose. Whoops, yeah, this way. Well, if I can get it back on, and then to the intake. And that's how that goes. This here is just sitting there actually. There's two studs that sits in rubber grommets. When you undo the bottom hose, which is right there, you can lift this whole thing out. And we're going to try and yank this motor out in one piece. We'll have this motor out tomorrow. That'll be a different step, and I'll show you how to do the timing belt. It does have a newer model tensioner. You can tell by the Audi emblems on it and that little shock absorber thing. It looks like it needs a front crankshaft seal though. A lot of oil up here, but we'll do that as we get it torn down. Cooling fan's okay. It's got some drag on it. Alright, that's it for this project for tonight.